I saw you dancing back there.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another self-publishing and marketing live Q&A. This is the second one that Estelle and I am doing, but she is a guest on my channel this time, and then I'll be a guest on her channel in the next hour. But let her introduce herself before I do my intro.
So hi everyone, I'm Estelle Van de Velde. I'm a Belgian indie author, content creator, and passionate speaker about all things book marketing and publishing. I'm the author of The Loneliness and soon to be the author of SEO for Authors, which is releasing in July 25th.
I can't wait for that because I think some of the information I think you covered during the conference on Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was like lots of good information and more. Yeah. And I was like, I need like a notebook to write down all this stuff. And then I remember you saying something that you were going to have more in your book. I was like, I just need the book. So.
Yeah, there's going to be more on the book, of course, because, when you're doing a webinar, you have a certain time frame that you can't, you can extend because you need to be respectful of people's time as well. So it's like, I have to convey so much information and I can't because when I'm doing the live stream, when I'm doing the webinar and the SEO conference, it's like I need to go through the basics of SEO, so search engine optimization, before moving on to the more advanced stuff.
Right.
So each time I'm doing this type of conference, I'm like stuck because I need to go through what's an intent, what's a keyword, how do you find keyword, how do you optimize your content. But there's a lot of things in between as well.
Yeah. And I remember
put on the side.
Some of them had said, I really appreciated that you broke down what those things meant because I didn't know. So I definitely understand what you're saying, that you have to like go through every time and give like the definition of every part that you're talking about for those who may not know anything about SEO.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. Well, for those who may be new to the channel, which I'm looking in the chat and I don't see anybody I don't know, but there could be some lurkers out there who are just watching to get some information. If you don't know who I am, I'm Shanon. I write under the pen name of ST Houston. You're here on my channel of ST Houston, where I publish content about writing and my self-publishing journey. Recently, I've been doing some videos on ChatGPT. So that's what I've been my content. I'm also 1/3 of self-publishing podcast, self-publishing tips and tricks podcast with Ben Pink from Running to Write and Morgan Lee, and 1/2 of the authortube writing conference, or AWC Duo, which is coming June 23rd through the 25th. Estelle will actually be, am I pointing the right way? There we go. Estelle will actually be speaking at the conference. She is one of our speakers. So there's yes, Richard, take a shot. He takes a shot every time I say ChatGPT. He says he's going to take a shot. So now he does it.
Ooh, we need to talk about ChatGPT then.
A lot, yes. We're going to make just don't get too chaotic in the chat there, Richard. But yeah. So we are here today to do a self-publishing marketing live Q&A, and this is basically an open forum where you can bring any of your questions with you or just anything that you might be curious about. And it does say self-publishing and marketing, but we all know that marketing is not just for self-publishers. So almost anything that we talk about with marketing can be used by anybody who's looking at publishing, whether it's traditional or self-publishing. So I think many of the same steps are taken. And I'm thinking of this because Emma Bennett is in this chat. She is a traditionally published author. She is a hybrid, but her main works, her body of work is traditionally published. And she's got a whole series going on her channel about social media and how to use it effectively as a marketing tool. So I thought of that. Richard says, buy my books. That's me marketing. I will go and say hello to everyone in the chat. And if you guys have a question, label them with a Q so we can pick them up. If not, we'll get started on some of the questions that we've brought with us. Here to start with. So Emma, boop the like button. Thank you. And Sophie, hello. And went in. Anne is here. Richard, yes, we know you're here too. I mean, that was wrong, Anne, but that's right. Cliff. Okay, everyone. Hi, Elaine. How are you doing? And there's Emma. Take you screaming both Richard and my name off as a sign of affection. Okay. That was from Ian. People say hello. There is Estelle's channel if you would like to check her out. We'll drop the link for the specific video that where we're going to be next on the next hour toward the end. Richard dropped his newsletter link, which is a way of marketing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to go.
So Emma says Estelle's spider plant has had babies, and when I saw that in the chat, I was like, wait, well, let me look. Oh yeah,
They're there. Actually, those plants were initially they were downstairs near the front window, but baby boy started walking,
oh,
and
just pulling on it.
you know it's a bit difficult to have plants there without them wanting to pull at
Pull it up.
everything.
Yeah.
So I saved them.
Jordan came in. Hey, Shannon, I want to read some of your books. Well, yeah, they are available on Amazon at the moment. I plan to go wide later this year. I'm not wide with the paperback, although I could be already. Hello, Dreaming Truth. How are you doing? And if you guys didn't know, Estelle also has a published book, The Londoners. I should have grabbed it. It's up there on my shelf, which is a memoir about being an expat to London.
Yeah, exactly. Because I lived there for like 4 years and a half. Something like that. So I decided to, write a book about it because I wanted to remember, when I will be old, 80, 90 plus, and I will have Alzheimer. I will still have that book to remember.
You'll have the memories there. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, Richard says, Shan, I saw the title of your new video and I just can't drink any more shots. So I had a video come out today. It was going to be a short, but it was just over a minute long. And I said, forget it, I'm not cutting this down. And I just made it into a video. And it's about ChatGPT, how it can lie to you.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Marketing is the worst. Marketing is hard. It is very hard because the market for marketing changes all the time. Platforms are changing all the time. So you have to keep up with it. And it's like a full-time job just by itself. So
yeah, marketing is ever changing. So there's always something new, always something to change in your marketing, process. So yeah, it's difficult, but saying it's the worst, I wouldn't say that, but because
there's some people who really do not like marketing.
Yeah, but Anne, I mean, we are in a private Discord with another friend of ours, and well, Kira and I, we always say, Anne, we can help you with marketing. I won't say more, but Anne never say, hey, can you help me on this? No, you're not. Yes, I'm calling you out, Anne.
Also want to say hello to Marie, welcome, and Easy Graphics, Andy, who came in. Richard, I just read Shannon's newsletter from today. Yeah, I got it out late last night. So there was a call to action on there for anyone who wants to be on the Typo Buster team. I should have said this in my sprint this morning, if you want to be on the Typo Buster team. So I do have my book going to 2 people who are editing the book, but they're human. I'm human because I could look at their editing and forget to do something or miss something, and not do it. So I'm having a Typo Buster team, and it is I'm going to do it as a an entry into a drawing. So everybody who's on the Typo Buster team and takes part in it, I will have a prize of 2 $25 Amazon cards that I will put everyone into. So because it's saving me by like hiring an editor. The 2 editors I have are in exchange of services. So I edit it for them and now they're editing for me. So saving.
Can I ask you yeah. maybe a too curious question, but how much, what's your budget for that book?
For the book that I have right now that I'm trying to get done? So I've tried to compare it to the last published book I had come out, because that was 115,000 words, and this one is 136,000 words. So it's like 20,000 words more. And I spent just under $1,000 for an editor. I made the cover myself, so I didn't pay anybody for that. I paid for a couple of beta readers. I paid for the blurb. So I looked at what I paid for my last book, and I thought, I want to do at least half of that. If I can cut that down to half, I'll be happy. And so far, I don't even know how I want to count this, because I wanted to get some character artwork done for my dragon. And I thought if the dragon was really good, I would give it to whoever was doing my book cover, because I knew I wasn't going to do my book cover. It was easy doing flowers on a cover. I could do that. But the book cover that I'm doing for the fantasy romance is a bit different. So I thought, okay, if I can get some character artwork done, I can use that for promotional purposes and things like that. And so I hired someone to do the dragon, and I should have asked for some proof concepts before, like before they finished the dragon, but they finished the entire dragon drawing, shading and everything, and sent it to me. And it was not at all what I wanted. And I felt bad not, saying, hey, this is not what I want, start over. I didn't want to do that. So I just paid for it. I'm never going to use it. It's not what I wanted. So I don't know how to count that money. That was $50 right there. So that's gone. That's already gone. So I'm like, okay, if half of my budget is, I'm trying to remember what I think. I think it was $1,200 is what I spent on my last book. So if half of it was like $600, there's $50 or $600 gone already. I hired a book cover company. I talked about this in my chat this morning a little bit. And they had me take these pictures. They said, pick pictures of what you're thinking. And so I did. And I said, but here's the differences. This picture's not what I'm thinking of because it needs to have this instead. Like something about it was not right. So I gave them the pictures, and then they came back and they said, could you give us some more ideas? And I was like, sure. Can you let me get through the weekend? And then I will look up some more ideas to send to you. And before the weekend was done, I got my proof concept from them. And I was like, this is not right. This is not what I'm looking for. So I'm right now back and forth with them. And I asked them this morning, I was like, will this work? Well, can I get what I'm actually looking for? And they said, no, we don't think we can do that. I said, okay, then what else can we do? Can I do like a different type of cover? And they came back, and just now, right before this live stream happened, they said, well, you've already gotten your concept, and you can only have one concept. If you want another concept done, you have to pay $25. So I just wrote back to them. I just finished the email before the stream started, and I said, I didn't get my concept. I don't see it as I got my concept because you told me to get some more files together. And I said, yes, but can I have some time? And you said, yes. And before I could get my files together, you sent me a concept. And I said, can I just get my money back? So we'll see what this says. Now that was $68. So let's see if I'll be out $118 if I don't get my money back on that. But if I don't get some type of resolution that is happy from this, I will be putting the company on blast. I'm not saying the company name right now because I'm hoping that they'll work with me, but, and this is a company that someone I know who's pretty big pushes quite a bit, but I know. So I'm in that position. So what I did, I went back to an old cover designer I used for a book back in 2018. Now he only did the illustration. He didn't do the typography, the lettering. Mm-hmm. So I got in touch with him this morning. I've been thinking about contacting him. I went back and looked at my old cover that he made for me, and I thought, let me just go talk to him. So I talked to him this morning, $160. He will do my dragon, my main character, and the background. He'll do them all 3 separate files, put them together as a book cover, and give them separate files, full figure that I can use for promotional purposes. And he will do concepts first before, approving anything and going any further, $160. So I paid for that. So we'll see. I just gave him my dragon information this morning. I haven't given him the rest of it yet, but he said he'll work on one at a time. Yeah. Not paying for beta readers. I'm going to try and write my own blurb. I'm not paying for an editor. The 2 Amazon gift cards is $50. So hopefully by the time this is all said and done, I'll be under that $600. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
I have lots of things running around my head of things that I'm thinking of. But yeah. Everyone say hello. Threw a book up the like button. You're so that's what do you call that? It's very physical to throw a book at something.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring up a question. I don't know if you're trying to save this for your live stream, because we talked about like questions that we came up with. But I thought that a question that Estelle said in our mastermind group this morning was a good question. Did you want to save that for your live stream?
Yeah. No. What?
The question you brought up? Because you brought up the question this morning. Hold on. Let me see if I can get to it.
What was the question? Oh,
you said, how do you send ARCs? And I thought that was a really good question because my mind skipped through not telling you all the paid ways to do it. I was like, well, she's probably not looking for paid ways. So what would be the best way to send ARCs, that's not paid? And I gave, I've given ARCs just as like PDF files. I've done as Word documents, but the one I thought of was, Story Origin, right? Because Story Origin, they have a free plan. On the free plan, all you can do is upload your book files and then give that as a direct download link to people. The direct download link will take them to the page with whatever files you have uploaded. There's 3 different types. You don't have to do all 3 of them. Be a PDF, Mobi, and EPUB. And so you can put all 3 file types there, or just one, or whatever. And you have one download link, so they can go straight there and get the one they want. And there's instructions included from Story Origin on how to access and put those documents wherever it is that you need to on your reader or whatever it is. So then you don't have to worry about trying to tell your readers, like, here, upload it to your Kindle this way or whatever, and it's free to do it that way. So that's what I mentioned. And then Andy from Easy Graphics gave a very detailed, his own detailed answer. And I don't know if you want me to read that, Andy, online, but what did you take away from that, Estelle? What are you thinking that set out your arcs?
What I was thinking when I asked that question is that, so I'm currently looking into arcs and how to send arcs safely, because I heard about an author, a French author, who found out that her book was already pirated and added on dodgy website for free on release date.
Yeah.
So that kind of story is so horrifying that I am doubling down on finding a safe way to send out arcs to honest reviewers, because the thing is that I'm about to launch a video, not next week, but the next week, to look for arcs reviewer and members of my street team for the SEO book. And I don't want that story to happen to me, And for the Londoners, what I did is that I did the very same thing. So I made a video, I published it, and I had a bunch of people registering for the ARCs review, for the ARCs, not review, but for the ARCs. And the thing is that the people who registered, I already knew them.
Mm-hmm.
It was my friend Kira, it was my friend John, it was Violet from Writing Violet,
Mm-hmm.
And Ben from 21st Century Writers.
Oh.
And now he's not making videos anymore, but he's still, his videos are still out there, and he's still writing and making music and stuff. But I already knew those people, so I knew that it was safe for me to send my manuscript. But now that my channel grew, I will not necessarily know those people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, do I trust enough, or do I pick and choose, or do I find a safe way to send my arcs? And the thing is that I also typed a question onto Dale Roberts' Discord channel, because I found a way to actually send arcs directly from KDP. So what I will just need is the email address from the Kindle of the person receiving the arcs, and I will be able to send my ebook directly onto their Kindle. But is it a safe way? I mean, it's like, okay, but Amazon also said that if they could make a link between you and the person reviewing, they wouldn't put that review up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if it shoots me in the foot at the same time, it's like,
you don't have to do it straight from KDP. Just so you know, if you have an EPUB yourself, if you have an EPUB, they can give you their Kindle address and you can send it to their Kindle email address. So you don't have to do it through Amazon. You can just have your own EPUB. I did that with my first book. It didn't work out very well. People had issues with it. I ended up scrapping that idea. But here's what I would say. And Dale, it's funny because Monday night, Dale is live on his smaller channel, the Self-Publishing Podcast. And last night, someone asked the same question about the ARCs. And this is what I'll tell you.
Really? Oh.
There's no foolproof way. There's all kinds of things you can do. There's paid programs you can use to basically lock down your draft. But what I would say is a lock only keeps an honest man honest. There are ways around everything. So like Story Origin also has like a beta copy feature where you can use that to give out arcs as well. You can also do arcs through Story Origin where you can monitor it. Like it goes through their system. That's a paid feature is doing the arcs. The thing is they have access to the PDF, EPUB, Mobi, whatever it is you give them. Even if you just give them the EPUB, there's a way to screenshot it and upload it. My books have been pirated. I'm working on a video right now because I'm still going through with the company to get my books off the website. I found out a couple weeks ago that two of my first 2 books in my series are pirated and on a website. It's strict. It's there. I didn't put it there. I could be in trouble with Amazon because I'm exclusive to Amazon with my books. So it can happen, but this is here's something that I've done. Now I don't think I'm going to do this as much for ARCs, but I think I may not give a PDF copy of my book as an ARC. I think I'm just going to use EPUB for the ARCs, which is a little bit harder, but still there's a way to break into EPUBs in Amazon Kindle to get those files and get those words. There's a way to do it. I've seen it. I haven't done it myself, but I've seen people talking about it in different forums. So like I said, a lock only keeps an honest man honest. So what I did though, like for my beta readers and my alpha readers, what I did was, and I marked this for each individual reader. When I gave them a draft, I changed one word in the draft and I marked which word I changed, a sentence, who did that go to? Is that going to keep my books from being pirated? Probably not. But if I see that, I'll know who did it. And in the future, I won't use that same person. Because I do have some readers on this group who I had from my previous series. So if I see anything out there like that, then I'll know which copy is out there. And it could be maybe my ARC that I put up to give to people. I will change one word in that's different from all the other words I have changed because each word was different for all my readers. And then if I see that going out, then I'll know, okay, well, it came from Story Origin. The PDF that's on Story Origin is the one that people are pirating or whatever, That's about the only thing you can do. I mean, I think it goes back to you can only keep an honest man honest with a lock. So I wish there was a better answer for that. We'll go to chat and see if there's anything. There's lots of highs going on. Let me skip through those. I think I know the one you mean. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, Shannon. I didn't catch the beginning of this story, but I'm sorry, Shannon, for that happening. Oh, yeah, I'm still dealing with it. I wrote up a letter. I even I sent it to MK Williams for her to look over, but that happened right before I had my surgery. So now we're going on 3 weeks later. And so I didn't send it out right away because with the surgery and my book, I was trying to get it, to my alpha readers. I was getting it to my alpha readers or my beta readers, sorry. And it was just too much for me at the time. It was part of what caused a lot of my stress. I was handling it.
I see. Yeah.
Until that was a Friday night. I saw my books pirated and my stresses that went way to the roof at that point. And I was just like, I couldn't do anything. And like that Sunday was, we were supposed to meet in our mastermind group and I couldn't do it. There was just way too much going on and too many things happening that it just didn't work out. Yeah. My stress went high. So
I bet.
And how are you? I'm using 100 covers. Been happy with them so far. I got the highest package at 50% discount. They do everything graphics related. I know they subcontract out, but no extra charges. Yeah, but with the 100 covers, that's probably like the one I'm using. I mean, we could probably talk in our mastermind group, Andy. I don't want to put the company on blast yet. I'm seeing what they're going to do because I didn't ask for the cover. They just sent it to me and I'm like, hey, wait, I thought we were taking the weekend off so I could grab some other files so I can show you guys exactly what I wanted. And they didn't wait for me to say that. And now they're saying if I want to change it, it's going to cost $25. And I'm like, that's like almost half of what I already paid you guys.
Well, for the cover for the SEO for author's book, I paid only 40 euros.
What is that, like $60?
40 euros is like, wait a minute.
Yeah. But I think it's easier just to get a nonfiction book cover.
It's 43 euros. $43.
40 euros is 43 euros. What was I was dollars. I was calculating something the other day, but it was a higher number. It was like 600 euros, and it was like $750 US. I think is what it was. It was close to that or something.
Yeah, I only paid 40, but that's because I used Olivia Pro Design on Fiverr. She's well recommended among indie authors, and Dale also recommends her. So I thought I would give her a shot, especially since it's nonfiction.
Do you want to drop that link in the chat?
You could.
I don't have it. If you've got it to hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Fiverr. Olivia. Oh, I have to log in, of course. But yeah, as it is nonfiction, I mean, it's easier for me to
That's what I say. Nonfiction is easier to get a cover versus when you're thinking of, okay, you have got two figures in the scene and a background scene.
Yeah.
That's a little bit harder. And I knew that was going to probably cost more money. I had seen what this company had done, and I thought, oh, they could do it. That's what I was thinking. But like I said, like my dragon has blue eyes, and the dragon on the cover has yellow eyes. And like I said right there in the brief, blue eyes. I said, I like this picture, except it is blue eyes and it doesn't have horns. And I said something else on there that they didn't even address that. They did take the horns off. That's about all they did. They just put the dragon there with no horns.
There you go. I've put it.
Thank you. Didn't even blink when another package next time was on 50%. Yeah. I think with nonfiction it's definitely easier to get if I had a nonfiction book, there's definitely good designers out there for cheap.
But the thing is that for the Londoners, I paid nearly 400 euros.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I cut down by 10 times,
Yeah, you did. You saved a lot of money on there.
I was really happy because the thing is that we talked about your budget for your next book, but I mean, for mine, for the Londoners, I paid nearly 1,000 euros. And that was for the cover design, for the copy editor, the developmental editor. Actually, I was really lucky because I know a developmental editor that could do that for free for me. So I'm like, yeah, I actually saved money on there. She won't do that for free for me anymore, but it was nice for this first book. So yeah, I'm trying to cut down a lot of things because I want this book to be profitable as soon as possible, and not doing like the Londoners, which is very far away from being profitable. Yeah. But I watched your latest video on your Q1 revenues and costs, and I'm like, yeah, same boat.
Yeah, I figured out it's gonna take me 40 years. At the rate that I'm going, to take me 40 years to make back the money. That's just a break even on my first series. So I have to find ways to be more profitable, like you said. I do think there's something to be said though for having a backlist of material. I mean, I think I chose the wrong genre for not the YA fantasy, but Irish mythology for my first series, because it's not very, I don't think there's a big audience for it. So I'm hoping that I chose a better genre this time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I am a better writer now too. So I really do think this book is good. But I don't know if it's going to do anything for my backlist because it's YA fantasy. A first year anniversary debut book for author Anne Sophie. Woohoo! And Emma left out. And I think I was on Nia earlier and I forgot to say hi. It was up on the screen. I think my mind jumped to something. Martin says story origin review swaps has worked out well. And I don't know if I dropped the link I have a story origin link. It's an affiliate link, guys. If you decide to join Story Origin, you don't have to use this link. You can just do Story Origin directly yourself. But if you like Story Origin, there's a lot of people. I think Martin is one of them. Richard's another one who've gone to Story Origin because of what I've said. But I didn't think about getting an affiliate link, and I'm like, wow, I could have made money. So, but I remember I told Martin that I said it that night, but I think he was asleep when I told him that my books had been pirated. And he was like, oh, yeah, the first book in his series was pirated within the first week of it being published.
No.
So, yeah.
Oh, come on, people. Why?
So it's going to happen. I do remember thinking what you were thinking, the same thing. How can I lock down my arcs? How can I lock down copies? And I asked my girlfriend, who's the one that pushed me into self-publishing. We graduated together with our master's in writing. And she'd been self-publishing since I don't remember what year she started now, 2016, 17.
Huh? Why is Anne saying me, Estelle, pick me?
I don't know.
But
I remember asking her that question and she was like, it's going to happen. She's like, I don't stress over it. And I thought, okay, I'm not gonna stress over it. Of course it did. I stressed over it. But, and she was in Kindle Unlimited, but have you heard of how like the opposite mindset of it though, with pirated books? The opposite mindset is if your book gets pirated and it's on another website somewhere else, means you're reaching an audience you may not have reached already.
True that.
Yeah. So, and if not all of your books are on that same site, right? They may go try to find you to get the rest of your, my book 1, my book 2 are there, but not my book 3. If people really like the story and they want book 3, wait, that just hit me. Because I've had the most Kindle page reads this year with Tears of the Marigold, with my 3rd book.
There you go.
I was like, what if they're all reading my book for free on these other 2 sites, and then they're coming over and getting the Kindle page reads on Amazon for the 3rd book?
That could be an answer. Well, part of the answer.
But still, it is a little disheartening because I'm in debt with that series, and I'm not making any money off that book being out there for free for people to get.
Yeah, exactly. And when we talked about, this French author who found out that her book was already pirated on release date, she said that she had spent 1,300 euros for that book. And, it was release date. She hadn't made any money back from it yet. So it was like, come on, people.
Yeah.
So do you guys have a question for us for the self-publishing and marketing live Q&A? Or are we going to talk about our, what's going on in our lives? Because we could talk about it forever.
Yeah. Well, I heard something on a podcast, and it kind of applies a little bit to what I am going to be doing next. At least the strategy does, which is I'm writing a fantasy romance next. I'm already published in YA fantasy, which means that anybody who's bought my YA fantasy, they may be shown books from YA fantasy. But then if I put my books, like say it's on Amazon, I put my books on Amazon for the fantasy romance, are they going to, whoever goes to that fantasy romance, are they going to be shown my YA fantasy books, or will the YA fantasy show the romance books? It's going to be 2 different audiences, really. I mean, fantasy is fantasy, but romance readers who read romance or fantasy romance don't typically read any other type of fantasy. Fantasy readers will read fantasy romance and other types of fantasy, but not the romance readers. So like, how do I fix that? How do I fix my also bots? How do I make sure that my book is showing to the right people, not the YA fantasy people necessarily, but to people who are going to be looking for fantasy romance? And so one of the strategies, of course, I could have a different pen name, but still you can have that crossover there. But I'm not going to have a different pen name, keeping the same pen name, because I have heard authors still get that crossover even with their pen names because their fans find out who they are. And so they cross-pollinate. So one way to do it is to fix the algorithm. And I think this might be something I do. So one experiment that the one author I heard talk about it, right? She said what she did was in her newsletter that she sends out, she recommends books. And I recommend books all the time from Story Origin and like whatnot, right? So she sent out a newsletter where she wrote women's fiction and rom-com. I think it's the 2 that she was writing, rom-com, romance, right? Rom-com. So she sent one newsletter and she put 2 books she recommended. One was women's fiction, one was rom-com. She looked at, because you can see on the back end in your newsletter, who clicked on what. And she separated them into those categories, the ones who are women's fiction, those who are rom-com. So that when her next book came out, say like a women's fiction, she sent the pre-order link only to the women's fiction group. And I thought, oh, wow, that's smart.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Another way that she said that you could do it is if you do ads. So you do, you target your ads specifically. So like she said, like say, and this happened to her with a rom-com book. She had a rom-com book she put out, and she saw in her also bots, now this was already out, she saw in the also bots that it was a bunch of women's fiction pictures books, right? So then she went to Facebook and did ads, and she specifically targeted some of the bigger names in the rom-com advertisements just to those, so that people who would click on it and went to her book would start filling in, instead of having women's fiction as also bots or also looked at or whatever, those different sections down there.
Yeah.
And she said within a week it fixed it, and she started seeing more of the rom-com books down below.
So she used Facebook ads, but did she use Amazon ads as well?
She didn't really talk about the Amazon ads as much. She said she used the Facebook ads. She said earlier in the interview she used Amazon ads, but when she talked about fixing the algorithm, she used the Facebook ads for that.
Okay, because the thing is that if I'm doing ads to fix any type of, also bot thing, I would be more confident in doing Amazon ads than Facebook ads.
I'm right there with you. I haven't done the Facebook ads yet. I did wonder the same thing if it would work with the Amazon ads. That's why I knew the answer to your question, because I was like, what about Amazon ads? So, yeah. But she said something about the Amazon ads later and targeting bigger names, especially those who become really popular. And she said she wouldn't waste her money on it. But that wasn't in reference, I think, to the fixing the algorithm. So I don't know. I don't know. And then Jim, look, he popped up the calculation there. So, hello, Jim. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, sorry, I'm European, so I'm using euros, not US dollars.
Yeah, no, it's okay. There is the Olivia Pro Design, which I have heard Dale talk about before.
Yeah, she's pretty good. Actually, when I sent her my, my brief, she nailed it right away.
Oh yeah. So you didn't have to have her go back and change anything?
Just some icons, but otherwise, because there are icons on the cover. But other than that, it was perfect from the start.
I must have done the euro. I didn't do it myself. I put it into the internet, the Google. I put, okay, what is 750 euro in US dollars? And it came out to like whatever it was. It was much higher. And I was like, I don't want to pay that. That was for a book cover I was looking at. Like, I really like their covers, but I didn't want to pay that much money. Not if I'm trying to stay low. So, yeah, Elaine, you should post your covers. Elaine does some covers. I don't think she's doing that as like a business. She's just been doing some of her own covers. She has not yet published her debut, but I think she has plans for her debut later this year. I think. But I don't know. I am going to be on Elaine's channel sprinting with her tomorrow. So if you guys don't know her, it is the stream is linked to my upcoming live streams. But Elaine, if you want to drop your channel link, she is low on the subscriber count still. Awesome channel. Go subscribe to her, you guys. So
that makes me think. Earlier today, we were talking about the live streams that were going to happen tonight, and Anne pointed out that Laura Nettles is having a release day live stream for her book Tiny Shivers today, right after the live stream that happens on my channel.
Okay.
So I will put a link somewhere in the chat as well.
Or yeah, if you want to do here too. I think I wove. I'm weaving here. I waved to Rachel earlier, but didn't say hello. But thank you for handing that conversation between Estelle and I looking for a secretary job.
Go subscribe, easy guy. Andy.
So due to Facebook ads, my US also bots are on point. My UK also bot is all Richard Holiday. That is not on point with him, because Richard Holiday does thrillers and contemporary thrillers, I think, sort of. I think his new series is set in the future a little bit, but Martin is sci-fi. So that would not be good to have all your also bots. So he said Facebook ads help him, but yeah.
We're talking about this in our Discord.
Yeah, that's what she was saying.
You wanting to target authors, right? Yeah, and that's for the SEO for Authors book. The idea behind this book is simply because I've been asked to do some webinars about search engine optimization, and I didn't even apply to those conferences. I was simply approached. I received an email and they said, "Hey, would you be happy doing a talk about that?" And I said, "Yes." And then my husband, because it's always an idea from my husband, he said, "Oh, Estelle, so it's been the 4th time that you're booked to talk about search engine optimization. How about writing a book about it?" And I was like, it never crossed my mind.
Yes, because that's something you can definitely give out. And then have you made a lead magnet to go with it?
Yes and no. It's not directly, it's directly linked to the book, but it's not from the book. I have a 5-day SEO challenge up on my website. So if you subscribe to it, you will receive every day, you will receive a tip from me to optimize your website, how to find keywords and stuff. So for 5 days, actually 6 because I lied. But yeah, then, people can start optimizing maybe 1 article, 2 articles, whatever. And then after 30 days, they will receive another email to remind them to check their results on Google Search Console. So they know if there's a spike in traffic or not. And I also ask them to email me if there's a spike.
But do you get a lot of people emailing you back?
Not yet, because it's just been up for less than a month. And I think the first one who subscribed to this challenge was Andy.
Yeah, he said that great info on that 5-day SEO challenge delivered by email. I just put the link to the newsletter in the chat. And I don't think I am signed up to it. So I'm going to have to go do that. I'm keeping it up on a tab here so I can go sign up to it. And Lang did verify, yes, debuts later this year. Reader Magnet will be out this summer. So I'm looking forward to that. She writes fantasy romance. That is, we all hate this term, but it's what Amazon uses, which is clean romance. But yeah.
For the price of free, it's a no-brainer. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, right.
And after the book is out, then it won't be for free anymore, because the book is not for free. The challenge will stay free though. So,
well, I was thinking, like, when you go to conferences later, then you can give out the lead magnet for people that sign up on your newsletter to get the link to your book so they can buy your book.
Exactly.
So, yep.
Exactly. That was the idea.
Maybe
I didn't quite do that last Saturday though. I simply said, hey, I have a book coming out.
Yeah, you should give your newsletter and say, hey, if you go here, you get the 5 free day.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna do that instead of saying, hey, pre-order.
Yeah, because if they got that and they sign up your newsletter, then they're going to learn about your pre-order on your book, and you're giving them something free to start with that they might be happy with, possibly.
Yeah.
Lead magnet is a huge marketing thing. What are your top 3 tips to creating a good lead magnet?
Ooh, I'm not really great at lead magnets, but if I have a tip, is to make sure that it is linked somehow to what you do. For example, if you're writing fiction, maybe you could write a short story that goes with that fiction, or some character story, like a side story that could go with the character, maybe something that happened like in the past, that could go well. But I mean, those type of things, they might be better for people who already bought the book and read the book rather than new people,
So you could write a short story in your world. So that way someone gets an idea of what the world is about. So the idea too is to stick with the same genre, right? So I have a fantasy romance that's coming out. I have a reader magnet that is being published first. I have to wait till it gets published first. After it's published in the anthology on the 15th of this month, then it's mine to do with as a that will be my reader magnet to give to my audience. Now, the thing that for like romance, right, you have to meet your genre expectations. And romance, the genre expectation is that there's a happily ever after. And currently that short story does not have a happily ever after. It does lead to one, but I was limited by 5,000 words for that short story. So when I get that back, that it's released to me, I'm adding words to it to have the HEA in there. And then that's going to be my story magnet. So you want to make sure you meet the genre expectations of your short story, but you don't always have to have a short story. Even if you write fiction, there is, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it might be Michael Anderle, but I don't remember who it was, but someone who writes like, okay, I can't pull that information out that was very, very specific. So let me go more broad. You have like Joanne Lambo. She has, her books are bakery romances. Well, she could put together some of the recipes that are made in the book and then have that.
That's actually a great idea.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, this one was, I think it was military sci-fi, and he gave like room dimensions or something, whatever it was, wherever they were doing their battles at. There was a building they went to, did the room dimensions. There are people that do additional maps and like actual like breakdowns of towns or cities or wherever your setting is at. Especially if your story doesn't have like a map that comes with it, but like maybe it takes place in a really big high school. You could do like the diagram plans for the high school or something. I've seen that. I've seen reader magnets be the songs that the characters are listening to in the book, the list of the songs that they're listening to. Or a fantasy writer, this was a while ago, saw the reader magnet was a song that was started in the book, but it wasn't completed. It was one that he had made, and he decided to finish it, and that was his reader magnet. So there's lots of different ideas. I think some of the best ones are stories, because that's why people will buy the book, is for the story. It kind of goes back to what Estelle said. If you're offering the recipes that are in the book, that may not be for a reader who's a cold reader. Cold reader is someone who doesn't know who you are, doesn't know anything about your writing, doesn't know anything about the story. They don't know what they can trust from the story, because they don't know you or how you write. So like getting a recipe is probably not going to work for a reader as it would be for a warm reader. And then I would also say another tip for it is that whatever it is that you make and you give, it should be satisfying. So if it is a short story and it is 800 words long, it may not be satisfying enough for a reader to feel like it was worth it to sign up on a newsletter list for 800 words. And this has happened. This is not to me. It's happened to someone else I knew. So you want to write something that is going to be considered satisfying by the reader. What that means is hard to say, but I would say test it out. If you give an 800-word story to someone and they say, wow, that was jam-packed and I got so much out of it, you might be okay. But in most cases, when people think of getting a story as a reader magnet, they do kind of think of like a short story to novella length in most cases. I think that does depend on genre too. Did you have anything else that you want to add that you thought of, Estelle?
No, you did great.
Oh.
And actually, I'm really shit with lead magnets because I never know how to attract people enough to subscribe to a list. And that first thing, the first leader magnet that I've ever did were a short story called Volte-Face. So it has nothing to do with what I write. It was just a short story that I wrote during my master's degree in creative writing. And I was like, I could put that as a, lead magnet and an incentive to subscribe to my newsletter. Yeah, but I did not have any fiction.
Yeah.
I did not have any fiction published. So it's like, yeah, I'm putting it out there, but, it's not connected to anything.
So I think it is easier for nonfiction though, because like what you could do from yours is like top 10 tips. You give the top 10 tips. If you want to know more in depth, go get the book,
Exactly. But that's the idea behind the SEO challenge is like, okay, I'm giving you X tips for 5 days. And if you want to know more, just buy the book. Well, it's not out yet, but it will be added when it's out.
Got some good ones here. 10,000K, about a side character that makes sense if a reader's coming in fresh or has already read your book. And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about. Those of us write romance, ought to read it for, make the lead magnets romance stories. And yes, you want to write for what your audience is expecting from that genre. So if you're writing mainly romance, you do want to make sure you meet all the expectations of the romance genre, which that would be the HEA in there. So, or HFN, it could be HFN, the Happily for Now. And Martin's like, I should start a marketing YouTube series for people on pondering publishing. Go for it. Yeah. Reader magnets get shared on places like Story Origin, Book Funnel, Grow Lists, and go on these places. You see what people are sharing, what kind of things are working. Definitely. You can see that. And you can always ask. I've talked to a lot of people in the Story Origin, people I have promoted with, and most of them have reached out to me and be like, hey, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And then we share information like what's working for us. So that's pretty cool. I see what you did there, Martin. I already made the graphics. Making some slides for videos. So the graphics are definitely easily obtained on stock sites. Yeah. So yeah. Well, is there anything else that we wanted to discuss? We got probably about 5 minutes, I would say, right? Or less than, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we actually do have 5 more minutes before switching to the other channel and doing like a little break. Well,
Yeah.
5 minutes break.
5 minute break.
Actually, I'm keeping those for the other half of the Q&A. Otherwise, I would be like, we don't have anything else to talk about. But yeah, talking about arcs, and going back to what we were talking about the advanced readers copy. For the Londoners, I only used my Google Drive. So for the when I send out the first email to my street team, who was about 5 people actually, there was a link to my Google Drive where they could get the manuscript. But as I mentioned, I already knew all of them, so it was like a no-brainer to just send them the thing without thinking about changing a word each time. But yeah, about arts, I also heard about BookFunnel, but I've never used it, and I've actually never. Oh, link to the next part. Yeah, I had a message ready for that as well.
Oh.
I just needed to click. You're way more advanced than me.
No, you're fine. You were talking, so I had time to do it. I haven't used BookFunnel, but what I will say is that I would look deeply into your genre. Like, I joined Story Origin because it's what I was hearing about the most at the time I was looking to join sites. Story Origin, BookFunnel are kind of the same. Although I would say that Story Origin is making leaps and bounds and adding things all the time that BookFunnel does not have. But with that said, I am now in the Faro Discord group. So Faro is fantasy romance, Faro.
Okay.
There's a big group of them. I've seen their posts on Instagram for a couple years now. They always, February is always Faro month, and so they do a big push of all the books of the people that are in their group. And so I'm part of their Discord group, and every month they say, okay, here's the new promotions we have this month, and everything is on BookFunnel. And I'm like, I'm not on BookFunnel. And so I'm like, gosh, when I get this book out, or when I'm probably in the next less than a month now, I am going to probably have to get on BookFunnel and get my reader magnet up there to start building my list for my fantasy romance readers. And I was like, I'm not on BookFunnel. So I would definitely look to see which genre, or what genre or what platform your genre uses the most. So Andy had talked about some other ones in our group. Book Sirens, Hidden Gems, Book Sprout. These are other places where you can get ARCs distributed, NetGalley. Now, Book Sirens, I had heard back when I was looking at the different groups, and I was looking between Story Origin and BookFunnel. Book Sirens was another one I was looking at, and I had heard then it was mostly good just for romance writers and not for other ones. Now, since then, I've heard that it's becoming more of a diverse population of readers, not just romance readers. But back when I was researching, which was a little over 2 years ago now, it was everything I looked up on it. Everyone was saying the forums everywhere, oh, that's mainly for romance. I didn't do so well there with my whatever book they had, in which my first series was not romance, so I didn't go on Book Sirens.
It's like Story Origin. You said that you need to know where the people are for your genre, but for example, for the Londoners, Story Origin is like useless to me because nobody is looking for nonfiction. No.
Yeah. I mean, Dale has done really well on there, but I think that might be more the audience he's brought with him versus.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but each time that I see a video from Dale, I'm like fangirling, like, oh my God. And I was actually very happy when he sent me an email saying, hey, would you like to be on my podcast? I was like, oh God.
I'm actually pretty excited. I'm doing a couple projects with Dale that was kind of, one was like really, really last minute. Like he got in contact with me. He's, hey, I got an author fall through. Can you do this tomorrow? I'm like, sure. And so I was pretty excited by some of those things. I can't wait. I don't know if I can say anything until the videos come out, but.
I actually asked Dale to write me a, how is it? you know, the note from an oh gosh, I forgot the thing. How is it called?
A reference letter? You said note, so I don't know.
No, not a reference rate. It's not a reference later. Wait a minute, Dale. I'm gonna put that there. Oh gosh, I forgot what it is.
Forward.
Forward, thank you. That's the thing I was looking for. I was looking at the email that we sent back and forth, and I was like, what is the word again? Yes, I asked him to write me a foreword for the SEO book, and he said he was so busy that it would not have the time for this time, but for the next book, he would be very happy because, you know, he's always very happy when people ask him stuff. So
yeah.
So all right, for the next book.
So you need to do an SEO part 2. But yeah.
No, SEO part 2.
It would be like a more in-depth one, but without seeing your book, I don't know what to tell you to go in depth on. But as a cold audience to SEO marketing, I can read your book and be like, this is what I want to know more about. And you can do that in your next book.
True that. But actually, the conference I'm preparing for the AWC is going to be turned into
a book too?
A book.
Awesome. Yay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do our outros. We got 4 minutes and we got to get over to your channel.
Yes. So see you later.
Oh, we're not going to do outros. All right, guys.
True.
I'll be over on her channel in about 4 minutes. So please join us here for part 2. She's got some awesome questions lined up. If you think of any questions, please bring those with you. And we will hopefully see you over there in a little bit. Bye.